Well, as the Missouri Valley Conference is heating up, the regular season in full swing, we have our women's game of the week. It's the Valley on ESPN. We'll be in Chicago, snowy Chicago, from what Ashleen has just told us, as her UIC Flames will take on Tanya Warren's Northern Iowa Panthers. Kelly Burke and myself will have the call. Our coverage gets underway at 7 o'clock. Ladies, thanks for joining us. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Scott.
So I'm going to hit the memory bank, Tanya, for you, first of all. Obviously, getting 17 years in Cedar Falls, but when you're first getting in, you're taking on this Illinois State team, and there's a gal named Cerrone and another girl named Bracey. Can you give us the scouting report against those Redbirds back in the day?
Well, Cerrone, I mean, it was just try to make everything tough for her. Bracey, good luck. Both of those young women were extremely hard to guard, and what I really appreciated is they played the game the right way. They played hard. Both of them were hard to guard. They could score in a variety of ways. What made Bracey so tough to guard is her ability to put the ball on the floor, her ability to score at the paint, but then she became a really, really good face-up shooter. Jumped out of the gym, just a terrific, terrific player. I hated playing against them, but I loved watching both of those young women play.
The memories. I mean, honestly, Ashleen, you guys had some great teams back in the day.
Yes, they did.
Thank you both for the kind words.
So, Ashleen, I wanted to ask you, obviously, you're now officially in the coaching fraternity, your second year as a head coach, but you look at your counterpart this weekend, and Tanya, 17 years, as I've already said, destined for the Missouri Valley Conference Hall of Fame, among other Hall of Fames, not just with the winning records and all the winning she's consistently done, but for you as a young coach and a young African-American coach, what she has done to open up the doors as a pioneer and the first African-American women's basketball coach. What does she mean to you?
Yeah, no, everything. And I don't even know if she knows this. She said a lot of nice things about me and Cerrone and our teams, but all the while, her teams were beating my teams at least once a year. And Tanya has done an incredible job at Northern Iowa. I've played against her when I coached at Mizzou, and then also when I coached at Ball State. And just every time, I mean, she just has incredibly disciplined teams. Her game plans are just out of this world. She's always ready to adjust. She keeps you off balance. She's just done an amazing job. And just for me to be able to look up to her, and just honestly, when I watch her teams play, I'm always trying to take something away from it for my team. And me and Tanya have connected at some of the media events that we've had, and I pick her brain, and I think that's how you grow as a young coach, is you learn from people that have done it well before you and are still doing it well. So just she means everything. She's fun to watch. I want to get inside that brain at some point when she retires and I need all the nuggets. But really proud of her. And Tanya she doesn't even know this either, but she impacted my life as a player. I feel like I really worked for everything that I got as a player. I didn't come in a star. I put a lot of work in developing my game. And she always recognized that. And, if I missed out on a first team all conference award or, honorable mention, she would always find me at the conference tournaments and say, like, hey, you are the most improved player in this league. You keep working. And she just always inspired me to just keep being better. So yes, just proud of Tanya, and, look at her as a role model for sure.
Let me say this, because
yes,
I'm also extremely proud of Ashleen. I mean, she, I go back to when she was a player, and I was always, I admired the way she played the game, which is why I always tried to seek her out and say good things, because I admired how she went about her business and how she played this game. And I watched on the floor, I watched off the floor. And to see what she's done in this profession, it's hard when you go from an assistant to a head coach. That seat is completely different. But she has adjusted extremely, extremely well. And I too am extremely proud of her because she's not afraid to ask opinions. She's not afraid to seek out. She wants to continue to learn. And sometimes when you come from a BCS level to a mid-major, it's sometimes you think you know it all, right? But she's never, ever, ever. The game is the game to her. And I've always, always loved that. And I've always respected that about that young lady.
Thank you, Tanya.
Real quick, and then we'll get into your teams here a little bit. But for Tanya, I told you last week we did the game Illinois State and Belmont. You're kind of a mentor as obviously the dean of coaches. What's that transition like for you as a mentor to so many coaches around the league and even beyond our league?
Well, I feel it's my duty to do that because I've had people who helped me along this journey, and it's only right to give back. While I've been doing this a while, I'm still also seeking out advice from different people and mentors and that sort of thing. I don't think you can ever learn enough. I think when you stop learning, then something's really wrong. So I just try to do the best I can every day. And I really try to help people in general, whether it's in the profession, out of the profession. That's how I grew up. And you never forget where you come from. And so many people helped me along my journey. I have to be able to do that. And I love doing that. And I'm just extremely thankful for the opportunity.
Yeah, there's so much truth in that. Well, let's get to your guys' teams. And one thing that seems to be something that's not of a positive, unfortunately, for the two of you is you guys don't like Springfield very much because they both had buzzer beaters on you.
You did. You had to go there, Scott. You had to go there.
Ash, I want to start with you.
It's real fresh for me. Tanya's coming off a win. It's real fresh for me.
The mindset of the team after a heartache, because I know you said after the game you really loved the way your team played through the most part of that game last week.
First of all, just winning on the road is just it's a grind.
Yes,
and I am proud of our battle. I am not proud of our execution. That is something that we need to continue to sharpen up in order to win on the road, in order to win games in the Valley. The Valley, it's so funny, just coming from the SEC, I have an immense amount of respect for just the coaches in the SEC and the players in the SEC. But the Valley is an incredibly strategic league. Mm-hmm. They are going to have every strength guarded. They're going to force you to play to your weaknesses. They're going to have every quick hitter or entry that you haven't scouted. I mean, you really have to execute down a stretch of games to be able to win. So that's something we got to get better at. But my team, we're 8 new kids adding to 7 returners. I keep talking about we are working every day to become who we were meant to be. And I have to be patient with that. And I have to understand that winning close games, it comes down to experience and it comes down to chemistry. And that's something that will come due time.
As I've always said, now being in the league for a while, is the fact that there are no secrets.
No.
Missouri Valley Conference.
No.
That's
you better have a right and a left hand.
So Tanya, for you, obviously everyone looking at the record, but obviously on a positive note, pick up a couple of wins as you head out on the road to Chicago and Valparaiso over the weekend. You've got a veteran team. I know you've been dealing with some injuries. Just tell us a little bit about the inside of how the team is feeling right now, especially after those couple of wins, and what you guys have been preaching to the kids.
Well, you look at the record, and it's, I've said this all along, it's a combination of a lot of things. It's injuries. I mean, we've had all 13 kids in practice once since September. So there hasn't been a lot of continuity in practice. And then you talk about the injuries. 4 out of our top 5 kids have all missed games. And then the strength of schedule. So it's a lot of it's out of our control, but a lot of it's in our control. Talk about execution and being disciplined, doing the little things. That's where we have to continue to grow. And one of the things that, we talked about is we played that strength of schedule for a reason. If we can get healthy and get whole, that schedule is going to play huge benefits. down the road. And it's, you know, as you get kids in, now it's the continuity and practice and getting kids in and that rotation back. So we're trying to do a lot of things in a short amount of time, but we're getting healthy. So we're starting to get some kids back, which is helpful. But, you know, I'm not pleased with 3-9, but I also am pleased with the perseverance of this team, because we could have ducked our heads after the Missouri State game. And I thought we were starting to play really good basketball at Iowa State. We just didn't have enough bullets in the gun, to be quite honest. And then, you know, we get to Missouri State and we played pretty good basketball for long stretches. And then we just didn't execute when we needed to execute. And you got to give them credit. So we talk about, we got to come back. We got to continue to get better. Stay true to the process. Control what you can control. And we have to get better in some areas in practice that will help us down the stretch in games. But it was good to play well against Evansville on both sides of the ball and to win a game like that and get a lot of kids in. And then it was good to play against a very good, athletic, strong Indiana State team, a close game where it was a game of runs. So we found a way to win on both sides of the spectrum, which is what this team needed for a variety of reasons.
Ashleen, you just mentioned right before we started this interview is the fact that you're happy to be home for a series over the weekend. It's been a while, huh?
And a minute. I think 11 of our last 13 or something crazy have been on the road.
Whoa.
Yeah, and just kind of the result of a schedule I inherited. You know, we had some home games last year in non-con, and then to start three on the road in the Valley has been tough, but it builds character. And
yes,
I'm not looking to save these kids from any adversity. Like, we got to go through it.
Right.
And you know, if you do it and you handle it the right way, it'll pay off for you when you need it to.
All right. Well, ladies, looking forward to it. Looking forward to seeing you on Friday. Appreciate you taking the time. It is the Northern Iowa Panthers taking on the UIC Flames coming up on Friday, our women's game of the week. Valley on ESPN. We'll tip it off at 7:00. We'll see you then.
Thanks, Scott.